Enter the Gates of Hell by Ralph Sinisi. Growing up in Clifton, it wasn't hard to learn of the stories of wrongdoings and evil happenings at a spot known as the Gates of Hell. My first recollections of this place were from the kids at the local BMX bike jumps. They would tell stories of people entering these tunnels and never returning. Satanic sacrifices, decaying carcasses, upside-down crosses, satanic graffiti, anything dealing with the darkness in human nature was down there. Most chilling to me was a secret room many layers under the ground. This room was only to be entered if you possessed powers that enabled you to lift axes that weighed thousands of pounds and block the door. Inside this room was a dungeon that housed a human skull, or so it was said. There were 7 layers of tunnels under the ground, and the lower you got the closer you came to meeting the devil. I always wanted to find this spot to satisfy my own craving of knowledge and wonderment of the unknown, but at that age Clifton seemed as big as the universe and finding them was a bit further than Mom would let me ride my bike. When I was 16, I was introduced to the gates for the first time. My friend asked me if I had ever been to the Gates of Hell. After a few dead ends, we finally found a route to the tunnels. It was dark from all of the tree cover, and my stomach began to drop as we climbed down to the level that the tunnel entrances were located on. I could feel the fear running from my feet straight to my shoulders. All that I had heard and envisioned for the last half of my life was hitting me at once. Looking at the entrance was more terrifying than anything else. Unlike the other tunnels, which were round and had streams of water flowing from them, this entrance was square and had no water flow. At this point, I was ready to leave and go home. I had seen that this image has an empty alt attribute. Its file name is weirdghosts.gentrance, and I now believed everything I heard just by looking at it. It was pure evil. But I realized that the only way to conquer the gates was to enter the tunnels. Deep inside the dark tunnel, we started to hear a strange knocking sound. This was a shock to the system since it had been totally quiet except for the flow of the water. That's when we ran and got the hell out of there. I wasn't sure what we had heard. My friend swears it was someone whispering some chant deeper in the tunnels. Years later, I made several trips back to the Gates of Hell. However, after telling my story, I could never convince anyone to venture into the tunnels as far as my friend and I did that one summer day. Red-Eyed Mike Guards the Gates to Hell by Jeff H. I have explored every inch of Clifton and nowhere is as eerie as the Gates of Hell. It's said that a spirit, known as Red-Eyed Mike, guards the tunnel. If you knock on the railroad layout one ties above the entrance in groups of 3, you will hear a loud horn sound from within the tunnel. I have heard this horn on occasion, and have seen rocks hurling themselves out of the tunnel with no person visible inside. I also once witnessed a small human-shaped figure run out of the tunnel towards Weasel Brook Park with superhuman speed. I have been told that this is Red-Eyed Mike.